The first body was found on a rainy Tuesday morning, slumped against a dumpster behind a shuttered bakery in Waverly Heights. Her face had been carved, delicately, almost lovingly, from ear to ear. Her lips stretched into a grotesque smile that had nothing to do with joy. The police didn't release the photo, but word traveled quickly among the precinct. Seasoned officers who'd worked homicides for decades walked out of that alley and vomited into the gutter. Detective Elisa Grant stood over the body, her coat soaked through, eyes fixed on the woman's mutilated mouth. No blood at the scene. The victim had been killed elsewhere and dumped. Elisa's jaw clenched as she studied the clean surgical precision of the cuts. Not rage. Not frenzy. This was skilled. Intentional. There were no witnesses. No surveillance footage. Just a woman no one recognized with an artificial grin carved into her face like a mocking mask. The press dubbed it immediately the Smile Maker. A week later, the second victim was found. Male this time. Same smile. Same eerie absence of struggle. He was seated at a bus stop bench, hands folded neatly on his lap like he'd just taken a break from life. The city was beginning to panic. Elisa hadn't slept more than 2 hours in days. She stared at the autopsy photos until her vision blurred. Each victim's facial tissue had been sliced using a methodical pattern. There was something disturbingly familiar about it. Like someone who'd done it before, over and over. Not in the streets. In a clinic. Or a chair. Dentist, she whispered to herself. She turned to her partner, Marcus Vallon. What if this is someone with dental training? Marcus raised an eyebrow. You think some rogue dentist is out here turning people into nightmares? No, she said slowly. I think someone with surgical precision and access to tools is making statements. And we're not listening. 2 days of digging into the dental board's disciplinary archives gave them a lead. Dr. Nathaniel Crane. Once a respected cosmetic dentist with a gleaming office downtown. Specialized in smile reconstructions, facial symmetry corrections, high-end aesthetic dental surgeries. Lost his license 3 years ago in a scandal involving a patient who died under his care. Suspicious anesthesia dosing. A malpractice suit followed. The clinic shut down. Crane disappeared from public view. They pulled his last known address. The apartment was empty. Furniture draped in sheets. A dusty coffee mug in the sink. But there were photographs. Dozens of them. Smiles. Cropped faces. Women and men, young and old. Each one showing teeth. Some laughing. Others posed. A few distorted, stretched with photo filters to make the smiles grotesquely wide. On the wall above his desk was a phrase scrawled in red ink. Perfection demands pain. Crane wasn't hiding. He was preparing. The third victim was different. She was alive. She was found wandering the edge of Emerson Park, barefoot, covered in dried blood, her face wrapped in gauze. A jogger saw her collapse by a bench and called 911. At the hospital, Elisa pushed past doctors and nurses to reach the ICU. The woman's name was Lydia Cortez. 27. Missing for 4 days. Her mouth had been mutilated, but not completed. The surgeon who operated on her described the incisions as precise, intended to sever facial muscles without damaging deeper tissue. A failed attempt at the same grotesque artistry. Lydia couldn't speak, but her eyes, wide and shaking, held volumes of horror. When she was finally able to scribble on a notepad, Elisa read the words with a sick twist in her gut. He said I wasn't ready to smile yet. Crane was evolving. Elisa sank deeper into Crane's past, obsessing over everything. His schooling, his clinic's promotional videos, interviews, podcasts. In one clip, he was mid-conversation with a beauty influencer, his voice calm, silky, unnerving in hindsight. A smile is everything, he said, eyes gleaming. It's the first thing people notice. The last thing they remember. I don't just fix teeth. I craft identity. What broke him? His records showed a spiral. After the malpractice suit, Crane's fiancée, Claire Danning, left him. They'd been together for 5 years. She testified during the hearing, admitting she'd witnessed him self-medicating and becoming unstable. Her betrayal was the final nail. Elisa found out Claire had changed her name and relocated upstate. But there was no record of her in the last year. No employment. No social presence. Claire Danning hadn't just vanished. She'd disappeared before the first Smile Maker victim showed up. A fourth body surfaced. This time in an abandoned theater downtown. The stage was set. Literally. Red velvet curtains half drawn. A spotlight trained on the victim, posed in a dentist chair dragged from God knows where. A mirror was placed in her lap, cracked, reflecting her mutilated face. The message was clear. He wanted to be seen. Crane was performing now. Elisa stood on that stage and felt something she hadn't felt in years. Not just for the city or the potential next victim, but for herself. Because this case was worming into her mind, and she was beginning to understand the twisted poetry behind Crane's madness. She received a package at the precinct. No return address. Inside was a single dental mold, plaster cast of someone's teeth. Neatly labeled. A file inside listed her full name, address, dental history, and a photograph. A recent one. One she didn't know had been taken. Marcus had to restrain her when she slammed her fist into the wall. "He's watching us," she spat. "He's watching you," Marcus corrected grimly. The department wanted her pulled off the case. She refused. Instead, she dove deeper, going back to old patients, former assistants, anyone who had worked with Crane. Most didn't want to talk. Some denied knowing anything. But one, an older hygienist named Margaret, finally broke. "He talked about symmetry," she whispered, "about how some people didn't deserve to smile. Said their faces lied, that he could see through them, fix them. Fix them how? By giving them truth," she said, eyes glistening. A real smile. The kind that never fades. Elisa felt her stomach churn. Crane wasn't just killing. He was correcting. It all came together with the fifth victim. Or rather, who she used to be. They confirmed through DNA it was Claire Danning. But her face was gone. Literally peeled and reconstructed. Her mouth had been shaped into an enormous smile using surgical threading. She'd been dead for weeks, before the first public murder. Crane had started with her. Elisa couldn't breathe as she looked at the body. This wasn't random. This was personal. Claire's betrayal had sparked something catastrophic. Her death was Crane's origin. The other victims? Pale reflections. He was perfecting his method, refining his art. He had mutilated the woman he once loved and found clarity in it. Marcus found a clue in Claire's apartment, long abandoned. A matchbook from a closed-down roadside motel outside the city. Inside, scrawled in the same red ink from Crane's apartment, "Showtime soon." They moved fast. The motel was empty, decrepit, but room 7 had been sealed from the inside with metal braces. Inside, they found mirrors lining every wall. A dental chair. Instruments arranged like a ritual. And in the center, Crane. He didn't fight. He just stared at them, surgical mask covering his face. Then he smiled. "You finally came," he said, voice eerily calm. Elisa stepped forward, gun raised. "You're done." He chuckled. "Done? I haven't even begun. You still don't understand. I'm giving them freedom. You're mutilating people. I'm revealing them," he hissed. "Every false smile, every pretended joy, I strip it away. What I give them is real, eternal." "You murdered Claire," Elisa said. Crane paused. His face twitched. "She lied to me. She was like the rest. Smiling on the outside, rotting underneath. I showed her truth." Marcus moved in, cuffing him. Crane didn't resist. But as they dragged him out, he whispered to Elisa, "I saw your file. Your smile's broken too." Crane was charged with 5 counts of murder, 1 attempted, and multiple counts of aggravated assault and illegal medical practice. He showed no remorse during trial. He even grinned as the verdict was read. Life without parole. But Elisa didn't sleep, because 2 months later, another body appeared. Same mutilation, same smile. But Crane was locked away, and the note left in the victim's mouth read, "The work continues.